Hi everyone, and welcome to Hidden Roles. I'm Rochelle, and today's game is Blue Lagoon, where we take on the role of Tribe Chief, leading your people on an expedition to different islands on a newly discovered archipelago. You'll be traveling the Blue Lagoons between the islands to build settlements and collect resources, all in order to become the most renowned tribe. Blue Lagoon was designed by Rainier Knizia, whose name you might recognize as he's designed a few other games that have won the Spiel des Jahres or have been nominated. These include The Quest for El Dorado, Celtis, Ingenious, and other great games as well. The game can be played between 2 to 4 players and is an area control and set collection game. Below, we have a 4-player game setup, with the main difference being the number of settler tokens each player will have depending on how many people are playing. We have the main map board located right here in the center of the table, and then some resource tokens and then some statuette tokens. Usually before the game, they'll be placed in this blue linen bag, and then you'll randomly draw them out and place them in the spots with the circle of stones on each island. Each player will then get the village tokens and settler tokens of the color of their choice. The settler tokens are double-sided with a boat side, which you'll place on the water, and then a land side, which you'll place on the island land map. The game typically has 2 phases, an exploration phase and a settlement phase, which both have a scoring round at the very end of the phase. They do recommend playing the exploration phase a few times until you have a better understanding of the game. We played both phases, so that's how we'll go through this in this preview video. So phase 1 is the exploration phase, and it begins with the starting player and turns move clockwise. On your turn, you'll place one of your pieces, either a village or a settler, on one of the hexagon spaces located on the map. There are some placement rules that you'll need to follow when placing down your settlers or tokens. You can either place a settler boat side up onto any unoccupied space in the water, or you can place a settler or village token on an unoccupied land space that is next to a token that you placed previously in prior turns. If you're placing a piece on the land space with a circle of stones, you collect that resource or statuette located there. Other things to remember are that you can only place 1 settler or village token per space per turn. And also, if you place any village token on a space that's with a circle of stones, that will be removed at the end of the exploration phase. Once all resources have been collected, or all the players have used up their village or settler tokens, then we'll move on to scoring in that exploration phase. So there are 6 different types of ways to score points, and they can be found here on this score pad. For islands, if a player has occupied space on each of the 8 islands, they'll receive 20 points. They'll get 10 points if they have settlers or villages on 7 of the islands, and then they don't receive any points for anything less. For links, you'll look for the chain of tokens of your color that link the most islands. The player will receive 5 points per each island that is linked in that chain. For majorities, you'll look at every single island and see who has the most tokens located within that island. So points will vary depending on the island. So for instance, if you have the majority on this island, you'll receive 6 points. But if you have the majority on this island, you'll receive 10 points. Anybody who's tied for the majority, you'll split the points evenly between all tied players. So for resources, if you look on the score pad, there are 2 ways to score for resources. The first way is a matching set score. If you have a pair of matching resources, you receive 5 points. If you have a 3 matching set, you'll receive 10 points. But then if you have a 4 matching set, you'll receive 20 points instead. Then the second way to score is that if you have all 4 different kinds of resources, you'll receive 10 points. And this can only be scored once. For statuettes, you'll receive 4 points for each statuette that you own. Once scoring is done, you'll move on to the settlement phase. You'll remove any remaining uncollected resources and any settler tokens that are still on the board. Village tokens remain on the board unless they're located in one of the areas that have the circle of stones. If there are any villages located on the circle of stones, they'll be discarded and you won't be able to use them for the next phase. You'll then return all of the settler tokens back to each player. The resources will go back into the bag. And same with the exploration phase, you'll randomly draw them and place them into the now empty circle of stones on the map. The settlement phase works very similar to the exploration phase. The difference between the two is that now you have villages present on the island when you didn't have them present in the exploration phase. This helps in future turns because now you don't have to start in the sea. You can actually place any of your settler tokens right next to a village token that was left over from the previous round. But to occupy a sea space though, it still needs to be placed next to a piece that has already been placed previously on another turn, unlike with the exploration phase where you can place it anywhere on unoccupied sea space. And then once again, once all resources have been collected or all players have used their pieces, the scoring round for the settlement phase begins. Points are tallied exactly the same way as in the exploration phase, and then you'll add up both totals to get your final total. The player with the highest score wins and is named the most renowned tribe on the archipelago. And that is the game of Blue Lagoon, where your tribe will traverse the blue waters of the sea in order to control the islands and resources of this beautiful paradise.